Alright, I'm going to show you this better booger. Pretty quick, pretty easy. It's going to take about 1.5 minutes to tie. But I'm actually going to show you a few things and how I get to do it so fast. A lot of people want to know when you're production fly tying, how you can tie things that quick. You know, if I want to tie 100 of these, it doesn't make it that bad. So there's a few things in material prep that you have to do, and I think the easiest way to show you that is if you go ahead and you take your marabou, just some regular woolly booger marabou, right? You got the whole pack. A lot of times it's strong. Depends on what you're getting. Well, this is where you're going to save some time. It takes some time to pull out those fibers and get each plume out of there. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to cut all these off the bottom. I'm going to do this over my garbage so I don't get it all over the place. I'm going to show you what we're wound up with. So we've got all those cut off. I'm going to get rid of all the fuzz on the bottom. So I'm just going to clean all this stuff off, right? And then when you're done doing that, all of your feathers are just ready to go. So you can grab them out of the pile. It sounds funny, but you know, if you're tying a fly and you want to tie 100 of them, I don't care if you're tying 3 of them, but you know, if it's going to save me 10 seconds and I'm going to do that 100 times a day, that means you know, at the end of the day I can tie another 6 to 8 flies. So you know, I'll take the extra time where I can get it. And then what we're using is some of the Puglisi fibers. Super easy to use. One of the easiest materials to come along in a long time. Makes things look good. You can be a very mediocre fly tyer and make something look very professional with this. And you know, I'm not knocking anybody, but there's a reason a lot of guys are using this stuff now. Super easy, super fast. It makes it look really good. So what I've got is I've just got a 3XL 301 Umpqua U301 hook on here and a large cone head on there, just brass. And I'm using a 140 black thread. If you have trouble breaking thread or something like that, you might want to go to a 210 so you're not breaking it. And then I'm using holographic cactus chenille for the abdomen. And to prep that, same thing. I'm going to take a piece about 10-12 inches long just so it's manageable. I can work with it, and makes it much easier when I'm doing the rotary. Now there's something to the placement of the materials as well. I'm right-handed. I've got my collar, the Puglisi fibers, on my right. I've also got my marabou over on my right. And the reason I do that, and you'll kind of see a flow and why I can go so fast, I'm going to grab my marabou, I'm going to tie it in. When I cut the bottom of that marabou off and I've got the garbage, I will set that down on the left. When I do that, I'm also picking up my chenille for the abdomen at the same time. So every time I'm picking something up, or I should say putting something down, I'm picking something up, and vice versa. So very, very efficient way of tying. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of crank along, and you can follow it as best you can, you know, where you can tie this in about 1.5 minutes. I'm going to put my tail on very quickly. I'm leaving gaps between the thread. I'm making 6 consecutive wraps at the back with pretty tight pressure. I'm also keeping my scissors in my hand. Actually, my whip finisher. Grabbed the wrong thing. And then as I dropped my marabou, I pick up that holographic chenille. I'm going to tie that in. I'm going to get my thread up to the front. And now this is where your rotary vise comes in handy. And when I get up just behind that collar, just behind that cone, I should say, I make about 5 more turns right behind that cone. And the reason I'm doing that back there is because the cones have like a hole in the back of them. I want to fill that space so that I can put in my collar a little bit easier. We're just going to tie the Puglisi fibers in right behind the cone. Make a few wraps back over the top of it. Okay. We're going to make 1 turn. Pull back. 2 turns. Pull back. Come up. Pull it up tight. Up over the top like this. Save you a little space. Cut that. Get out your whip finisher. Whoop. I'm getting all tangled up here. I don't know what's going on. There we go. 5-6 whip turns. That's it. You're done with the fly. So it really doesn't take that much. You know, the fly itself is about 1.5 minutes. Looks great. You can do it with black. You can do it with all kinds of other colors. That's what you wind up with. This is what I call the better booger. You know, we sell them in black, brown, white, orange, and you can get them all at WILEY'SFlies.com, along with all the materials necessary if you have any questions. Thanks a lot. Remember, WILEY'SFlies.com, your 24/7 shop in your underwear fly shop.